Then up next, we have the International Polytechnic High School from Pomona, California. Thank you. Hello. Okay, is everybody ready? Gabriel, you good?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Marturia Yami. That is my best friend, my partner in crime, and my actual twin sister, Gabriel Calderon. We are seniors from iPoly High School, or International Polytechnic High School, and we are going to be talking to you about taking steps towards a better future in what we deem to be the first step that needs to be taken towards denuclearization.
Okay, so I'm sure all of us know exactly what a nuclear bomb is and how they work. However, it's important that we start off with the same basic understanding and on the same playing field and a base upon which we can build upon to ensure that there's no miscommunication between us. So we all know that they're extremely destructive. However, the physical impacts that they can have initially is the initial release of a shockwave from air being condensed, and then the shockwave then resulting from that, which can destroy buildings and even kill people in the process, which is really sad. The second one is the thermal radiation that comes about, which is the actual heat that is released. And radiation, the way that it releases its heat is similar to how stars create their energy, which means that the temperatures that it can reach at its center are extremely hot and can vaporize anything that is in the immediate vicinity. And after that is the direct nuclear radiation, which is perhaps the most deadly part. This is the part that destroys DNA. This destroys the basic fundamental building blocks that make us human and that make life alive, sort of. And so this is limited, however, it's extremely lethal. And the long-term effects is the radioactive fallout. And this is as a result of radioactive particles, the remnants from the actual explosion, going into the atmosphere and coming down in surrounding areas, contaminating food supplies, water supplies, and as we now know, can affect generations down the line.
All right, so now that we know or kind of covered the physical effects of nuclear bombs, we need to understand how they work and why they work. Nuclear bombs use two different types of science, I guess you could say. One of them being fusion and the other being fission. Fusion is the union of atomic nuclei to form heavier nuclei, resulting in the release of enormous amounts of energy. Like its namesake, basically it's just taking two atoms and combining them at such a force that when they do combine, it releases a large amount of energy. This is initially done using hydrogen and then goes on until throughout the periodic table until we reach iron. This is the same process that actually occurs on the sun, and that's the reason why it's so deadly. More modern nuclear bombs have been created using fusion because the process itself tends to be more powerful than fission.
And so the second form of nuclear bombs is fission, which is something that is a little, not outdated, but not as destructive as hydrogen bombs can be. And so this is almost the exact opposite of fusion, where you take two subcritical masses, put them together to create a supercritical mass, and in attempts to stabilize itself, release vast amount of energy. And these were the bombs that were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki during World War II. And so this is generally done using uranium or plutonium because of their unstable nature.
Okay, so we've kind of covered the numbers in the previous presentations. However, it's also good to go over them once again so that everyone remembers. There are around 14,500 nuclear weapons worldwide, positioned in North Korea, Israel, Pakistan, India, the United Kingdom, China, France, and the United States and Russia. The United States and Russia have the largest nuclear arsenal, followed by France and China, and as you can see, the other countries in the graphic. So now that we know a little bit or have covered the previous information, it's important to recognize the obstacles in front of denuclearization and non-proliferation. These challenges are things that are in the way of international peace and security. One of them is the country North Korea, because North Korea, as you have all probably seen in current news, has been making strides towards building up their nuclear arsenal. In fact, their supreme leader, Kim Jong-un, akins weapons of mass destruction to power, which is something that a lot of other countries also agree with through their actions, because the more weapons you have, the more danger you are to others and the more power you have. North Korea is also believed to have chemical and biological weapon capabilities and has threatened to bomb the United States and neighboring countries like Japan. And of course, what is limiting or what is another obstacle when it comes to North Korea is the poor communication between North Korea and other countries like the United States. While the President Donald Trump has made attempts to discuss with North Korea through meetings to lead towards a path of denuclearization, none of them have created solutions that have lasted for a long time.
And similarly, the U.S.-Russia relations are also something that most of us have probably heard about as well, as the growing tensions are really coming to a climax currently. And just upward estimates put the U.S. at around 8,500 nuclear warheads, while the upper estimates for Russia are at about 10,000. And the problem is that these tensions have roots starting with the Cold War and have continued on to today. And so because one does not trust the other to give up their nuclear weapons, the other will not as well. And this trust is something that has been missing in a lot of treaties that have been made in the past. And this rapid buildup has contributed to the idea of mutually assured destruction, which states that because in the case of a nuclear war, because both of them are so powerful, nobody can win because everybody dies.
So some other general complications facing denuclearization is the fact that denuclearization requires trust. If I, as a country, do not trust another country, I'm not going to be willingly giving up my weapons because I need them for quote-unquote protection. And because this trust hasn't built up, we're going to be seeing a lot more countries trying to increase their arsenal. Because owning more weapons means power. If you have all of the weapons, you have all the power because you pose the greatest threat as a country. And because more countries want more power and a greater standing in the global playing field, there has been a large increase in nuclear arsenals, and because of this large number, there are currently enough nuclear weapons to destroy the planet dozens of times over.
And so our vision, similar to that of everybody else here, is a denuclearized future where we do not have to worry about our safety or our friends' safety or our family's safety because of rising tensions between nuclearized countries. So the first component, and as we have mentioned, is trust. This is something so basic and fundamental that has been missing from every treaty made in the past. And because of that, because nobody trusts the other to give up their nuclear bombs, nobody else is going to do it. So it starts at places like this, where we are fostering the trust between us. We are coming together as a collective community. It was previously stated earlier this morning that we are crossing borders. However, we're breaking boundaries. We're overcoming obstacles, and we're doing this together. We're not doing this as individual units. We're coming together and realizing that this is so much bigger than ourselves. And that is really what this is all about.
So some other ways that we can build basic trust is, first of all, recognizing that the trust or building trust is not an immediate thing. Trust requires a lot of time and patience, which seemingly a lot of our countries don't seem to have. Another thing that requires for trust is transparency. So countries need to be open about the actions that they are taking to fortify their own countries with one another, and we need to be honest with one another. We also need to rely on other countries. The United States is known to give a lot of aid to other countries, but it is also vital that the United States welcomes aid from others as a way to build rapport. We also need to respect each other. This goes on outside of the basic respect that we need to have in how we treat the other countries, how we talk about other countries, but also how we take our actions towards other countries. So, this requires not hacking into each other's countries' things and, not making fun of other countries and calling their leaders little rocket men. We also have to be willing to give and receive. If we are going to be continuously giving, we also need to be receiving. And this kind of goes on to the receiving of trust and the giving of trust and the giving of respect. Lastly, we need to take risks together. If we do not take risks together, then we are going to be standing on rocky ground. We need to be able to trust one another to do actions together.
And this reciprocation of trust and respect among countries and between countries is extremely important in what our proposal is for denuclearizing countries, which would have nuclearized countries denuclearizing at the same rate so that one is not put at an advantage while somebody at the cost of another country. And so this would be possible if unbiased groups could come in and ensure that this is actually happening and to ensure that the countries are being honest and being truthful with each other.
So that is kind of just our basic idea. Yes, we believe that we need to have policies and discussions, but overall, we think that the first step that needs to be taken is the basic understanding of one another and a basic level of trust with each other. Doing activities like this and coming together from all corners of the world has such a great impact, even though it may seem like we're just a small group of ragtag kids. Having this meeting and having many more meetings like this can have a really great impact. I'm Marturia Yami.
And I'm Gabriel Calderon.
And this is our presentation from International Polytechnic High School. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone have any questions?
So I actually have a question, so I'm
Yes.
just going to turn around. Okay.
So you mentioned having like a third-party organization
Yes.
to purview the proportional denuclearization. Do you have any like specific non-governmental organizations or UN caveats?
I mean, not entirely. I think, I believe,
I would just like to add on to this that the problem is that although there are many agencies,
IAEA.
yeah, that is one that could be potentially used. The problem is that the system is broken. We can't try and reuse something that is already broken. We need to modernize, we need to revolutionize, and we need to be willing to put everything else that we have aside to realize that it's not working, and we need to, we
Yes.
need to make it work.
Yeah, I think furthermore, just having, like we previously mentioned as one of our bullets, we need to have transparency with other countries. So having like diplomats, sorry, I said that really weird, but having diplomats come and actually see the countries taking action has such a powerful, has such powerful implications.
The international implications, yes.
Exactly. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Anyone else? Going once?
Well,
Going twice?
we don't bite, we promise.
Yes.
Well,
All
thank
right.
you very much,
Thank
everybody.
you so much.